Welcome back to another episode of Britt and Nick Do the News. Britt and I are back from spring break in Chicago. We kicked it off Sunday at Cabra's Drag Show Brunch, located in the Fulton Market District. It was my first drag show. Always enjoy a good show, but I was too distracted thinking about which performers were males and which were females. I think I wanted the full male commitment, even though I'm sure drag is more of an artistic state of mind that doesn't discriminate. I still wanted the males. We also stopped by Al's #1 Italian Beef, which is one of Chicago's famous beef shops. One of the staples you can't miss. And dinner that first night? Giordano's. It was pretty decent, but other locals said that Lou Malnati's is way better. That was our first free day in the Windy City, but the main concentration was for Evolution's Podcast Movements Conference, where podcasters and the like gather to network and collaborate. I had such a good experience. The 5th annual Ambies Awards took place the first night, hosted by comedian Tig Notaro. Ira Glass was honored with the Governor's Award. He hosts and started The American Life, the most popular weekly podcast in the world, and the winner of the first ever Pulitzer Prize for a radio show or podcast. Really paved the way for podcasting in general. Other winners included Hysterical, who won Podcast of the Year and Best Reporting. Ronan Farrow, the offspring of Woody Allen and Mia Farrow, presented the Best News Podcast, which went to a kids-focused The 10 News. So, Britt, that's who we're competing against. Best Entertainment Podcast, The Wonder of Stevie. Best History Podcast, Empire City, The Untold Origin of the NYPD, and Best Indie Podcast, What Happened in Skinner, with co-creator Aaron Blanton, who we actually hung out with a few nights. That was a fun part of this conference, was bumping elbows with people who have made moves in the industry and them just being really great people in general. They want to help and they want to hang. We really hit it off all week long, getting great information and getting more of a sense of what we need to be doing with this podcast to really expand.
Yes, Nick, I would agree. It was so much fun just meeting the industry folk and getting all sorts of advice and stuff that I honestly didn't even think of before. So that was a really cool advantage. Plus, I can't even front, they had the best parties with the most original spots. The first party was at a place called Spin, and that's where they had ping pong tables set up for everyone to hang out, have fun, and, play a little ping pong. Very original and super unique, lots of fun, and once again, networking like whoa. The other party was at Reggie's, and let me just say, we were kind of a little taken aback. Let me explain. Well, when we first walked up, it was headbanging, screamo, freaking metal music, like hardcore, all the way 10 toes down in. Guys were walking around with crazy haircuts, the big gauged ears, dog collars, lots of black. And I do love black clothes, but golly, let's put in some variety. And yeah, so when we were walking around the corner with our little name tags on, we looked a little bit out of place, but no fear. The wait staff were very helpful and directed us 1.5 doors down to the other portion of Reggie's, which was also very punk rock leaned, but a little bit softer if I had to say. But once again, we had a great time meeting a whole bunch of different people, whole bunch of different styles of podcasts. I mean, like you said, there was folks that did youth programming, other people that did more nitty gritty style.
What about that woman that had the podcast on cancer? She did 365 days of a podcast, which, I mean, we can barely handle 2 a month. So imagine just grinding every single day for a cause. She actually took off and is in like 25 different countries. So
oh, yeah,
it shows that the work that you put in counts.
100%. Yeah, her name was Saran. What is her name?
It was Saren.
Saren, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, her name is Saren, and she's from New York. So it was really cool to meet her. A very, very awesome experience. And yes, exactly. Just seeing how people put in the work and the dedication is all inspiring.
That was another thing. Like, yeah, we talk about the news, but the best feedback we got was that people liked us. They were willing to tune in for the show because they thought we were hilarious and a good time. So it kind of gave us faith that even if this news thing isn't the show we stick with, that we'll find our niche and we will definitely kick it off at some point.
Amen.
Other great mentions about Chicago, the Il Culisino Chicago Italian restaurant. It had great Italian food by the Hyatt McCormick Center. We loved meeting the bartender Bobby and Marissa. Shout out. We also met the hosts of the Docu-Sweeties show that covers 90 Day Fiance and Love and Locked Up, shows of that like. Another restaurant I recommend, the Purple Pig. It was located right above the Chicago River and had great Mediterranean food. Britt and I also managed to sneak ourselves on the rooftop of a 50-floor luxury apartment high-rise after cruising the Navy Pier and running through the famous Art Institute of Chicago. Truly a great ending to a great trip.
Agreed. It was amazing. I could have never guessed how incredible that view was. We were right next to the Sears Tower. The sun was shining. The weather was sweet. And yeah, we had to make sure that our feet stayed on the top because we were right over close to the edge. So it was incredible.
Yeah, thank goodness it wasn't windy that day because we would have been swept off for real. There was no reason for anyone to be on that rooftop. And of course, Nick and Britt, we had to conquer it.
Always.
A big congratulations goes out to Alex Ovechkin for beating Wayne Gretzky's all-time record of 894 goals, setting a new record of 895, holding the title of the NHL's all-time leading goal scorer. Ovi has played 20 seasons with the Washington Capitals. We filtered through 22 starting quarterbacks in that time with our football team, so that just goes to show how much of a staple he is to the sport, to the city, and to the team. I had the pleasure of working 8 seasons with the Capitals, living through the Stanley Cup victory, and Ovi was just someone you had to marvel at. Not just on the ice, but off. Witnessing him frolic around the city and even swimming in the fountain after the Stanley Cup win, after the Nationals game, he was just great. I read recently that Budweiser sent celebratory custom cans of beer to goalies who didn't get scored on by Ovi. That was 28 goalies tops that received this lovely gift. Thanks for what you did and what you do for the sport, Ovi. You are truly greatness.
Caps, go Caps. Woo!
A congratulations also goes out to the Florida Gators who beat Houston for the NCAA championship win. It was a close game with Florida only winning by 2, 65-63. I really thought that Houston might have had it after that close win against Duke in the semifinals, but unfortunately it wasn't their day. Also, congrats to UConn for the women NCAA win. They crushed South Carolina, who was the champ the previous year. UConn has held this title 12 times under coach Gino Auriemma since 1995.
Wow. Well, congratulations to them. And also a good luck to Walmart. That's right. Walmart boycotts are heating up, or rather the aisles are cooling down. That's right. Wally World's boycott occurs from April 7th to the 14th, and it is striking fear into the hearts of the big ups at the corporation. Shoppers are protesting corporate greed, DEI programs being eliminated or minimized, as well as overall disappointment in the way that business is being handled. This boycott is being organized by the People's Union, and this includes in-person as well as online shopping, Sam's Club, and even the Walmart branded companies and their private label brands. This group continues its efforts to plan boycotts all the way through the July 4th. That's right, America's birthday. This also includes a 3-day economic blackout during the days of April 18th, 19th, and that's right, good old 420. Shoppers are encouraged to purchase from local vendors as a way to combat buying from the big guy. It's not only Walmart that's getting boycotted. The Target boycotts had a strong and noticeable start as well. There's also something called the 40-day Target fast, which urges Black and POC consumers to refrain from spending their money at the retailer giant. Current data suggests that these efforts are working. as the store corporation has seen a noticeable impact on sales, foot traffic, and now stock prices. Target has their stock price significantly dropped, losing approximately, y'all, 12.4 billion in market value on just one day, February 28th, aka the economic blackout day. So yes, the people are speaking and the stocks are dropping. So look for more boycotts in your area as they continue to press on into the summer months.
Yeah, I heard about this blackout on 420, and I think someone randomly said, like, yeah, who cares? I'll be blacked out as well.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Well, coming back from Chicago, I had to catch up with some family, so I headed to downtown Frederick on Saturday, and I was actually baffled running into protesters. Now, I at first couldn't tell what these people were protesting. Mind you, I had just come back from Chicago, where apparently they have one almost every day for multiple reasons. So I was a little desensitized and thrown off with why here, why now. Saturday, April 5th is currently the largest one-day hands-off protests that took place worldwide. 600,000 people had signed up and millions actually showed up to protest Trump's policies and Musk-led government cuts. From a personal standpoint, I was very confused at the posters demonstrated within Frederick specifically. Not so much on the nationally published pictures. Theirs made more sense, but seriously, I was lost on what the protest was even covering. One person reported that they showed up to any event that requires making a poster, and others had to pull out a script to recite why they were even there. I'm all for the movement of free speech, but please be informed on what you are screaming about and be passionate about the cause before you show up. This is your opportunity to unite for a cause, and diluting it with wishy-washy followers that are getting interviewed and looking less informed dilutes the real message. Here's something I'm more concerned about, and instead of protesting, I want to start asking questions. Where is my home state of Maryland's tax dollars going? Or where did they go? I'm more concerned with being affected by my state administration and my local tax dollars. Governor Larry Hogan left office January 2023 with a $5 billion surplus. Now, the state's own budget analysis projected by the end of next year, Maryland will be in a $300 million budget shortfall, which will balloon to $2.7 billion in 2026. That is the largest gap that we have seen in the last 20 years. It is more significant than the Great Recession. So this is a significant challenge, stated by David Roman's Maryland General Assembly Legislative Service Department's Fiscal and Policy Coordinator. Man, that's a mouthful. Governor Westmore, where is the money going? I want to see where the budget is going when I would think we would be doing well after Hogan. And from all the gambling and marijuana tax dollars, I just can't believe it. It just isn't adding up. And I feel like we should be focusing our efforts on state level issues that are occurring in our backyard. I get a breakdown of my HOA costs annually, and just receiving that letter, even though it's excessive with the breakdown, makes me feel better, even though my HOA fees have increased 70% since I've moved in. We deserve to know and deserve to nix any program funding that doesn't meet our needs.
Agreed. I feel like it's always been a constant struggle finding out where all these politicians spend the money. I mean, be them blue or red, they never seem to have any receipts or let us know about what is truly going on. It's pretty shameful. And honestly, I think these protests are in response to a lot of things, you know? The OG Strom Thurmond originally held the record for the longest individual floor speech at 24 hours and 18 minutes in 1957, arguing against the Civil Rights Act. Well, that has now been overtaken by U.S. Senator Cory Booker, a liberal from New Jersey, and he is now the new record holder for the longest speech to their American people at a full 25 hours and 5 minutes. Yes, that's right, y'all. A long time to talk, but honestly, I think Nick and I could beat him. Corey's parents, Carolyn Rose and Carrie Alfred, were some of the first Black IBM executives. So Corey had guidance and a lot to live up to from a young age. When you get inspired from a young age, sometimes that can motivate you in your future. Mr. Booker's speech detailed the issues with President Trump's second time in office, as well as the operations of Elon Musk's Doge, aka Department of Government Efficiency. It's really great to see that America is speaking out and standing up for what they believe in. I mean, as Nick had mentioned earlier, these protests went on nationwide, be it DC, parts of Florida, Houston, Atlanta. I mean, a whole bunch of spots in California. Everywhere you looked, even in little old Frederick, Maryland, they were saying some stuff. And you know what? You weren't wrong when you said Chicago had a lot to say as well. Every day that we were there, they had a protest going on of some sort. Chicago does not shy away from any sort of public forums, but they need to shy away from the dang honking, yo. That was that was unconscionable. I could barely stand it. You know, I'm not a honker, but that was out of pocket. I mean, they just laid on that sucker like it was their job, like they were getting paid and didn't have to show the receipts for it. Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty loud, but I mean, it doesn't beat New York and their aggressive honking. So I didn't mind, but yeah, it was a little abrupt at times. But going back to Cory Booker, I mean, did he take a bathroom break? Did he get a snack, a glass of water? Like, I don't understand how someone can just run their yapper for 25 hours. And like, honestly, if you're a good speaker, you should be able to say things in a couple of lines and it be that meaningful and moving that you can just pause and slowly mic drop.
You know what it is though? It's that shock value. And maybe he wore a diaper, just like, remember that crazy NASA chick that rode all the way to like go, like, I don't even remember what she did, but she definitely was wearing a Depends because she said no stops unless I got to gas up. And I'm fairly confident she even brought gasoline in the vehicle with her, which is actually really dangerous, y'all. Don't do that. Well, you know, the NASA broad wasn't the only one that strapped on a diaper and went straight Looney Tunes. Lori Daybell, y'all hear about her? Y'all remember her from a few years back? Yeah, that's right. Lori Vallow Daybell is currently on trial in Maricopa County, Arizona. She's facing a charge of conspiracy to commit murder of her fourth husband. That's right, fourth. She collects them like infinity stones. Charles Vallow back in 2019. This Idaho mom is a already convicted felon, as she was convicted of murdering her two children, Ty Lee, as well as Joshua J.J. Vallow. 4 months before his passing, Charles Vallow filed for divorce, citing that she, Lori that is, had become obsessed with near-death experiences, as well as her beliefs that she had lived on numerous other planets within numerous other lives.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
He also claimed that she had threatened to murder him and take all of his money. Well, turns out she did that. Lori is currently serving 3 life sentences in Idaho for the murders of her children, as well as conspiracy to commit murder of Tammy Daybell. Well, during opening statements, the prosecution team claimed that Lori Daybell Vallow conspired with her brother, Alex Cox, to terminate Charles's life in order to cash out on a hefty life insurance policy, all the while claiming that Charles himself was possessed by an evil spirit. I mean, really? The accused is not a lawyer, but she still selected to represent herself during the 6-week trial. Not a good move, Lori. Not a good move.
Never is. Never is. But people that are Looney Tunes choose that route more often than not.
I swear. I feel like they think that they're God's gift and they're like, no, I can do it. I can do it. And it's like, no, boo-boo, you can't. So whatever. You're already hemmed up for the other murders. So you're an idiot, but that's okay. She claims self-defense. Of course she does. As she pled not guilty, of course she did, and tearfully explained that his death was in fact a tragedy and not a crime. Yeah, sure. Prosecutor Trina Kay argued against this in front of a jury of 16. Yeah, 16 in Phoenix. This whole ordeal picked up steam years ago as the children went missing and the community was extremely concerned. Well, unfortunately, as we all know, it ended horribly, and the kids ended up being found in, Idaho, deceased. Clearly, this lady is off of her rocker, and I'm pretty sure she's going to get hemmed up for this one, too. Shed a tear, I won't. I think that she's not only just crazy, I think that she's a sociopath. And I want people to understand that they're two separate cases. So you can be crazy, but also you need to account for the idea of you really plan to murk this guy for his money, and you murdered innocent children as well. So sorry, Lori. Don't care. I hope you fry.
Dude, yeah, is she up for the death penalty? No.
She is not. But even still, like I don't know what planets you're on or have been on, but here on the planet Earth, you gonna be in some bad spots. I don't know how rowdy the broads are in Idaho State Penitentiary, but I guarantee you they're gonna whoop your ass. And I love it. And I love it.
Shoot.
Sorry. Right? Like, how do I springboard off of that?
I don't know. I got distracted because I'm thinking of 90 Days In, I think it's called, where they put in those plants and they record the prison conditions. And I was just thinking about Lori on that show and what we would see. She just seems absolutely insane. So I'm sure she'll be a treat to bunk up with.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I wouldn't mind getting my hands on her ass. Rather her neck. Her ass could stay put. I'm goody.
April 9th is National Unicorn Day. We celebrate this mystical one-horned horse this week, but scientists are saying it might not be so mystical. A fossilized skull of an ancient animal called, now forgive me now, so that's a hard one, Elasmoderium sibiricum. I actually nailed it. Dating to have lived 30,000 years ago, but it looked more like a giant hairy rhinoceros that was twice the size of a giraffe and would roam the grasslands of Siberia. Perfect segue to movie news. A Death of a Unicorn with Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega was released March 28th under A24. Unfortunately, A24 is going through a rough patch with the horror genre, and this one continues to track. It grossed 5.8 in its first weekend and is receiving mixed reviews with its tongue-in-cheek humor that missed the mark. The total gross of only $8.5 million, it hurts with a budget of $15 million at stake. Desk Pop Entertainment, the distribution label I work for, is also following tow for releasing a horror movie at the wrong time of the year. Screamboat, with Steamboat Willie's IP being up, I guess they're trying to capitalize it with David Howard Thornton starring as a killer mouse on Pete Davidson's Long Island Ferry. I can't even find the box office numbers, so I'm praying the ticket sales are up and that you guys are intrigued enough to catch this when it goes online May 2nd. A Minecraft movie with Jack Black killed it though, releasing on April 4th. It grossed $163 million domestically, $150.7 internationally, for a total worldwide of $313.7 million in its first 3 days. And that just goes against the budget of $150 million. So they are raking it in and they're going to continue to do so. Congratulations to them.
For sure. Everybody loves Jack Black. I mean, he's singer, songwriter, actor, comedian. He does it all. And honestly, I feel like they drummed up a lot of support because a lot of people play those games. Fortnite and Minecraft, all those games that are kind of still kid appropriate. So I feel like they're hitting the youth population pretty hard and heavy.
Oh, definitely. Jack Black, he's just such a great guy. I think he was on, I don't know which show he was on. I think he was on Drew, where he met Tanner, one of the, I won't say contestants, but one of the stars of Love on a Spectrum, which I love that show. I binge watched that the past 2 days. So I don't have any movie news of movies I've watched. I've just been stuck on Love on the Spectrum. And I honestly recommend it. Anyone who loves a dating show, it's It's pure entertainment. I mean, it's very uncomfortable at times, but it makes you feel better about your situation. And honestly, I kind of wish they'd pair some of these autistic chicks up with like normal guys because I think they could handle it. But when you pair two autistics, it's like a negative plus a negative. Like this one guy was gripping the table because he was so anxious, and the girl was feeling a little overwhelmed with just how he was acting. Her name was Madison. Don't call her Maddie because she will have a panic attack and flip out. So Madison, she used to rip up the carpet in her friend's house, break picture frames, throw lamps on the ground, go nuts until she was introduced to beading. And she makes some beautiful bracelets, y'all. So honestly, check out Madison. She's one of the newest members, and check out the show Love on the Spectrum.
So cute. I love to see the pairings. And honestly, like, it just really gives you an idea into the differences of people on the spectrum. There's levels, and it's just awesome to see them kind of just out experiencing the world, like just as traditional folk do, because they deserve a chance too. And it just really opens up the viewer's eyes into the opportunities that lie before. So it's really cute. It's a great show. Give it a shot. And it's super heartwarming. Like you said, sometimes a little secondhand embarrassment, but any good show's going to give you that, to be honest.
Definitely. There's this reoccurring cast member, Danny. She actually hooked up with this guy, Adnan, last season. So I was kind of curious where they were in their love story. And I was thinking, because Danny was very sexually charged. Like, she definitely wanted a boyfriend just so she could hit the sheets. Like, she made it very clear. So a year later, I was like, dang, I think she got her freak on. But no, spoiler alert, like, they still haven't done it, and she had to make some animated movie just to send the message to her boyfriend like, hey, it's been a year, I think it's time to get in bed. And the poor guy, he's got really anxious about it because he's got autism, but also he's a devout Christian. He's going to wait till marriage, so he had to tell her the news, and she was crushed because she really wants to bang. So I felt bad for her because I was hoping that when she landed that boyfriend that she would accomplish her goals. But sorry, Danny, just going to have to be the next one.
True that. But some of them, they've really been holding on strong for a hot minute. One of my personal favorites, Abby, and her man, David, they are still together, still going strong. So that's really exciting to see. And I love seeing her reels on YouTube. She is just an absolute delight. Just the sweetest, most fun, most realistic personality. I mean, she says what everybody is thinking. She does not hold back. And I think that's what makes her so, likable and adorable. But what wasn't as likable and adorable was the Snow White premiere. Yeah. Fans were not responding well to that. And honestly, it got such low scorings on IMDb. They had to issue a rare warning saying unusual activity. Our rating mechanism has detected unusual voting activity on this title. Yes. On Rotten Tomatoes as well. I don't know. I feel like people are giving it a real bad shake because of the polarity, with the politics. And of course, the lead, Rachel Ziegler, going online and saying that she didn't want people to see it, that she didn't need people to see it. Well, the audience responded and said, cool, I guess we won't see it then. So the box office severely suffered, but a lot of folks can even say, though it's a pretty bad movie and the CGI is rather crap, the acting, I mean, it's got Gal Gadot, so you do the math. But they think that they're going a little hard in the paint on the scores just because of, apparently the wokeness of the movie. So I feel a little bad for them, but at the same time, she should have never got on the mic and said, I don't care if you buy the tickets. You do care. That's your livelihood, madam. And I understand you already got the guap for it, but I mean, have a little bit more stake in the game.
No, seriously. And she got what she deserved because she was running her mouth. She didn't care if anyone came to the movie. And guess what? She went to the movie with her friends and they were the only ones in the theater. Like, that's kind of sad. And I wonder if anyone even recognized her, as being in the movie. Probably not.
Yeah, that's a shame. Well, that's one of those things where you really got to be cognizant of what you're saying and how it comes across. Because I understand that they were already catching heat for a lot of the changes that had been made. And overall, people say in general, if they have no thoughts on politics, they said the movie's pretty dang bad. But you add that to the mix and you're just begging for crap ratings. So good on Jack Black. Your movie's still doing well, homies. So praise be.
What about them tasty treats, Britt? You got some food news for us?
Oh, yes, girly. I sure do. I stay on a plate and today is no exception. At Starbucks, the iced cherry chai has hit stores and I've actually tried it. To be honest, it's pretty dang good. And it kind of throws me back to like when me and my sisters were young and we would only drink like iced chai. We didn't really do coffee drinks. It was a lot of the pretend milkshake type drops or smoothies. And our go-to were the iced chai. So I had to give it the old whirlski and it was rather tasty. But I mean, as tasty as it is, are any of these drinks worth their prices? I don't know. I'll let you guys decide. But the iced lavender cream matcha is re-entering the market, and it's a return from before, as well as the iced lavender oat milk latte. Now, Nick and I had said on a previous episode that we knew lavender was going to hit the spring scene very hard. And look, it did. There's just something about flowers blooming and lavender in your tea that just goes together like peanut butter and jelly. The jalapeno chicken pocket is also making a brand new debut, but it is only at certain participating Starbucks locations. So it might not be at your local store, but honestly, that might be all right. Maybe just make something similar at the house. Spring 2025 is looking promising for Dunkin'. That's right. Don't forget it's called Dunkin' alone, not Dunkin' Donuts any longer. They made that switch apparently September 2018. But as the store started to change, then COVID hit. So we didn't even really notice until long after. But they want to be more beverage forward, which they are. And now it's just Dunkin'. Regardless, they have many a commercial that feature their new Arctic Cherry Dunkin' energy drink. Yeah, this beverage is their take on energy drinks. And though I haven't tried it myself, it has gotten some pretty good reviews. Berry Burst and Pink Sunshine are already in rotation, so it makes sense to add a cherry edition. I mean, they always add a cherry edition, whether people ask for it or not. But that could also be a nod to the cherry blossom festivals that are occurring in the spring season as well. Probably trying on them trends,
Well, yeah, it's peak season in DC, so everybody head on down and catch those cherry blossoms.
Oh, yes, I know. I would love to see it. I don't think I'm going to make it in time, but that's all goody. I'll have to view the pics. But you know what? Munchkins also get their time to shine as the spring bucket. Yes, a whole bucket of Munchkins. Don't sleep on it. They will feature a new one. It's called Blueberry Sprinkle Munchkins. They sound divine because I already love blueberry flavored stuff. So sprinkles, almost maybe like a cross between like the blueberry muffin. Uncertain, but I'm definitely going to have to give it a try. And, a regular donut lineup couldn't be forgotten as well. A festive cotton candy specialty donut is now available for purchase today. Now, I stopped at Dunkin' earlier this morning and I saw it featured and I promptly decided, no, thank you. I do not personally enjoy any cotton candy flavored items or bubble gum. I feel like the only thing that should be cotton candy flavored is cotton candy itself or, bubble gum. Bubble gum should be bubble gum and cotton candy should be cotton candy. And occasionally you could do a crossover of cotton candy flavored bubble gum. But other than that, I think it needs to stay where it's at. It's not just Dunkin' and Starbucks, all the morning spots that are getting in on the springtime action. Popeyes is doing their thing with the introduction of pickles to the party. Yes, ma'am. Their new menu features pickles plenty with pickle lemonade. We're going to have to try it. We did the pickle Dr. Pepper, so that's up. Fried pickles, love them. Now, always with a crap ton of ranch, but still love them. Pickle glaze sandwich, that sounds divine. And both pickle glaze bone in as well as boneless wings. So I've never had wings from Popeyes, but their chicken sandwich I think is better personally than Chick-fil-A. Not to talk smack on Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A's doing their thing too. They can't miss out on the spring season. They're going to reintroduce the Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich, which I've had before, and it's pretty decent, but I'm more of an OG, and I like to stick to, that's right, the chicken sandwich, add cheese, and keep them pickles coming, Bo. They also are featuring a brand new drink or several drinks with the pineapple dragon fruit beverages coming to the lineup. That is definitely spring, summer, and I know people are going to go absolutely ape wild over them. So gonna have to slide through the drive-thru to try out them gems as well.
I'm really fascinated with this pickle agenda over at Popeyes. I'm gonna have to try. I'm gonna have to get in there and yeah, get me some wings.
Sounds so good.
Well, now it's time for the quick fire round. We fire off good stories and quick facts. I'm going to kick it off. NASA has launched an initiative to address lunar cleanup. $3 million to anyone who can recycle 96 bags of feces that were left on the moon. These bags were left on the surface of the moon during the Apollo missions to reduce spacecraft weight so they could return back to Earth. They're looking to convert waste into practical matter like water, energy, fertilizer, or construction materials. Folks, gear up and submit your proposals. Personally, I think I could give it a quick, swift kick off the moon and into space, and then we don't even worry about recycling.
Right? Just a giant dookie roll rolling through space. Kind of reminds me of, what was it, Joe Dirt, and he thought he had found something, and it was literally just like the crap part from like the dang, I don't even know what, but that was great. That was incredible. And then they was eating ketchup anyway. Next in news, did you guys know that there's a magic ratio in relationships? It's a 5-to-1 rule. Yeah, in order for relationships to be successful, for every one bad interaction you guys have, you need 5 positive to make up for it. This ratio was introduced by world-renowned researcher and psychologist Dr. John Gottman. Through his breakthrough work, he was able to predict with 90% accuracy the couples that would eventually be separated. He's determined when you had a 1-to-1, so a bad argument and only one positive to make up for it, that your relationship was headed for a breakup. But if you had 5 positive interactions versus 1 not so grand, you were going to do great in your relationship. So that's it. Keep up the positivity and make sure to still get your point across. Arguments are not evil. You just need to balance them out with happiness as well.
Good to know, Brett. Is the ratio set in your relationship?
Oh, yes, girl. I'm holly and I am jolly all of the time. Not crazy at all. Not nutty and definitely not argumentative. Not in the slightest.
Well, it's reported people with high emotional intelligence are more likely to talk to themselves. Self-directed speech can support emotional processing and creativity by reinforcing internal dialogue, which in turn manages your complex thoughts and feelings. Do you talk to yourself, Brittany?
Do you really got to ask me that? Of course I talk to myself. I do it the most worst time, I'd say, in the aisles of the grocery store. Like, I'll just be reading stuff, and especially them prices, and I will be having a full-blown conversation with myself, and I don't even care if other customers or employees see me. I just got to speak the truth. And if I speak it, it's the truth to me.
I guess, yeah, I catch myself looking in mirrors and having a conversation with that girl. And even as a child, my mom told me that I would look into like the base of pots and just yabber away. So I've always done it.
That is so cute. See, you needed an audience, though. You were like, well, I got to get a beautiful broad to listen to me. So here I go. Shiny object. Let me see the looking glass and let me see what she's got to say.
Or it was a little less lonely because I was talking to someone instead of just myself, technically.
There you go. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's always been kind of a age-old question. Are you smarter or weirder or any of it if you talk to yourself? That's not the only question that humans have asked themselves. They always want to know which came first, the chicken or the egg. Well, scientists conclude that indeed the chicken came first. That's right. Scientists conclude that the chicken did indeed come first and actually not the egg. Why? Because the protein which makes eggshells is only produced by hens. Yes, kind of random, very interesting, but totally real. Researchers at the University of Sheffield in England found that the protein is called oroclidin 17. I think I said that right. If I didn't, I apologize. Is essential for forming eggshells and is only found within the hen's ovaries, thus proving that indeed the chicken, rather the hen, baby, came before said egg.
Life's biggest mystery solved, folks. The chicken/hen came before the egg. So, some somewhat positive news. Migrants' arrests at the U.S. border in March are at the lowest ever recorded. That's 7,180 arrests, marking the lowest monthly amount since they started publishing data in 2000s. This is in comparison to the 155,000 per month that has been constant over the last 4 years. So if anything, we can say Trump did one thing right.
Yeah, well, it's not just Trump that's got incentives. Apparently, where I used to reside in Charleston, South Carolina, they've got a little incentive motion working as well. They are giving $25 a week to families if the students that come from the family make it to a perfect attendance schedule. That's right. If you go to school 5 days in a row, they will reward the family with 25 buckaroos. And honestly, I think it's a great proposition and great motivation. Keep the kids in school, keep the butts in the chairs, and get these kids learning. It's a little sad that you got to put some monetary value behind it, but whatever works. So honestly, hats off to Charleston County schools.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised. I mean, as a parent, I can't wait for my kid to go to school and I don't need to be paid for that. So, just says something about the area that they need an incentive to get their kids there.
It's true. It's only running from March 10th to May 16th. So I guess they're going to see how well it does. It's not forever and ever, but it's still probably a trial run just to see how it does. And if it does super well, they might continue it on to next year.
Interesting. It must be like the season people dip out real quick, probably taking maybe many vacations or who knows, honestly. Speaking of schools, a 350-pound Minnesota teacher was arrested after using a sixth grader as a step stool. Jason Rogers, age 48, confessed to stepping on his back after the student chose to lie on their stomach instead of sitting during a safety drill. The boy's mother said that the incident left her son injured where he was walking around like an 80-year-old man. Now, when I first heard step stool, I really literally thought that maybe the teacher needed a boost to kind of get to the top of the chalkboard, but I didn't know that this was like with ill intent. And hello, you're 350 pounds. Like, what did you think you were going to do? And did you think you were going to get away with it?
Nutty as a dang fruitcake. That is so unbelievable. I can't believe somebody would think that's a good idea. Even if you weren't morbidly obese, I mean, why would you ever stand or step on a minor child? Like, that just doesn't make any sense. And it may sound a little harsh that he's getting arrested for it, but honestly, if that was your kid, wouldn't you want some serious action to be taken? Like, that is just unconscionable behavior. I don't know why anyone would think that's normal.
Yeah, no, definitely would press charges and he would be covering, or the school would be covering any bill or inconvenience in that child's life. Like, I can't imagine.
Agreed.
All right, now we're going to move it to the fun segment of the show. And I mean, Britt and I were gone for April Fool's Day, so we couldn't really pull any pranks on y'all. But I got a bunch of worst pranks ever pulled, brought to you by Reader's Digest. So I'm going to go through the list and Brittany's going to give it a rating from 1 to 10 on how bad she thinks it is and kind of give us her opinion about why it's so bad. Story number 1. It is believed by many historians that the origin of April Fool's Day began in 1582 when France switched over to the Gregorian calendar, changing New Year's from April 1st to January 1st. Back in the day, the word carried a little slower, and those who were slow on the uptake of the date change still celebrated on April 1st, and they were the butt of many jokes and were pulled pranks on. One popular prank was to have a paper fish glued to their backs. Even today, people who are easily fooled are referred to as fish. Now, I don't think that was really like the worst prank, but that was just kind of the origin story. And I guess the prank is gluing fish on people's back, which, I mean, if I were to give it a rating, it's a lame too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's not that bad, and no one gets hurt in the process. I do feel kind of bad that they're kind of making fun of developmentally delayed folks.
No, they're not mentally delayed. They just didn't get the message because they didn't have telephones back in 1592.
Oh, my fault.
82.
Yeah, kind of goobery. I give it a 2 as well.
Yeah, just the history, that is cool to kind of know where it came from. So I appreciate that fact. All right. On April 1st, 1992, a man claiming to be Richard Nixon told NPR he was running for president, stating, "I never did anything wrong and I won't do it again." Totally disregarding the year we're in, thousands believed it was Nixon announcing his bid for president and even geared up to protest.
Oh, wow. That was a little bit more serious. But I don't think it's that great of a prank. Like, I don't find that to be super funny. Wow, they're going to protest. Wow, you're getting people all riled up and anxious. I don't know. I would give that probably a 5 just because so many people fell for it. So obviously it reached a fairly large amount of folks. But as far as like April foolishness, half, so 5.
Yeah, you're talking about developmentally slow. 1992, folks. Come on. Come on. Here's another one. April 1998. Burger King announced that it would offer a version of the Whopper that would be designed for left-handed individuals. Funny enough, though, that people actually flooded Burger King asking for this left-handed burger.
Okay, well, I will say this. Scissors definitely don't work in the left hand. That is a real thing. I don't understand that at all. If you're left-handed or not, they just don't work over there. So, like, that's just very weird. Kind of always been puzzling to me. But the left-handed burger, that's pretty good, especially to drum up business. I mean, you know, we're big foodies around here. So any way to get some more hands-on burgers, I suppose. I'll give that one a little bit higher. I'd say that's probably about a 7, maybe even a 7.5. That's pretty good.
And it's fun. It's not harmful and it didn't scare anyone, you know? So I appreciate it. I agree with your score.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Worst April Fool's prank ever. April 1st, 2002. Two DJs from Kansas City announced that the water was found to contain a certain high level of dihydrogen monoxide. Side effects included sweating, urination, and skin pruning. Hundreds of people flooded the water department and the police received distressing phone calls. Now, people, dihydrogen monoxide is H2O. The DJs were widely criticized, and one government official even criticized them as being terrorists. Funny enough or not, in 2013, two Florida DJs pulled the same prank and they got yanked off the air and nearly saddled with felony charges.
Well, okay, that one. I mean, I guess technically nothing was wrong because they didn't lie and say it was something that it wasn't. But you knew what you were finna do by saying that. And I feel like that's pretty messed up. You know, you got the cops involved. You got people storming the water folks and all. I mean, once again, still nobody got harmed. But I want to drop that back down because I just don't like people just causing frantic absurdity. You know what I mean? In a bad way. The Burger King left-handed burger, that's kind of jokey, very unserious, and, you know, just drumming up some more money for the biz. But, like, to actually have people, like, going to the water treatment plant and storming the halls, I don't know. I feel like it's just a bit ridiculous. So I give it a 4. Pretty good, but also you're an asshole.
Worst April Fool's prank ever. April 1st, 2010. A newspaper in Jordan ran an article claiming a UFO had landed near a town of Jafar, resulting in the mayor issuing an order to evacuate 13,000 people. The newspaper staff responsible had to make a public apology to avoid facing a potential lawsuit.
I don't know. As soon as you said Jafar, all I could think of was Aladdin. So I'm very basic minded. I don't know. It's that far reaching stuff that kind of hits pretty good. I'll give it a 6.
Yeah, I enjoy a good UFO prank, but honestly, like all of these stories got people too hyped up. Like, I don't think you need to be so serious to get people to react in such a way, but be kind of simple-minded with your pranks. Like, I think my boss pulled one where he was like, "We're no longer going to be using Final Cut Pro. We're going to be using iMovie instead." And really, I was kind of shocked when I first read it coming back from vacation, but then I was like, oh, wait a second, April 1st, and somebody else was like, haha, April Fools. So a simple little joke like that can throw someone off, but really, like, let's keep it innocent and clean, y'all.
No, for real. But speaking of fools, you guys will be fools not to listen to us. Tune in as often as we post and listen to our take on stuff. I mean, is it the right take? Is it the wrong take? Is it our take? 100%. So give us a listen, give us a follow, give us a like, because like I said, you'd be a fool to not.
Now let's close out the show with what people actually want us to talk about. The take on Dear Abby letters, Dear Britt and Nick.
That's it. Dear Britt and Nick, my 33 female boyfriend, 30 male, is in love with his best friend. How do I break up with him when I'm 9 months pregnant? Woo! Dang, girly. I've been with my boyfriend, 30-year-old male, for 7 years, and I'm 9 months pregnant with our child. Lately, I've been feeling like our relationship is no longer working, primarily because I believe he has deep feelings for his best female friend. Their friendship started when he moved across the country to be with me and met her at his new job. While I don't have an issue with her, I'm uncomfortable with how much effort he puts into their relationship compared to ours. We've been through a lot together, but I feel like we've grown apart. He's never been open about it, but I've noticed things like frequent texting and giving her a Valentine's Day gift, despite never acknowledging Valentine's Day with me. These gestures feel too personal for a friendship, and it's made me feel increasingly disconnected. I even snooped on his phone and saw he sent her flowers when she was sick, which is something he's never done for me. He basically ignores me when I'm sick. I'll give him some credit that he did actually send me roses for my birthday a couple of weeks prior to Valentine's Day. I try to communicate how his actions make me feel, but he doesn't seem to get it. I only met her for the first time last month, and it was because I'm pregnant. And he felt it was time for me to stop thinking she was the big bad wolf, even though I made it clear that she wasn't the issue and it was about his actions for her. After meeting her and observing them together, I don't think anything has happened between them. But if she were to ever show interest, I believe he'd jump at the chance. There have also been other issues, like him staying at her house after drinking without telling me he wasn't coming home, and sending her elaborate gifts under the excuse that it was to help her with her relationship. I've stayed because of life events and challenges that made it difficult to focus on a breakup while trying to deal with and cope, especially since we lived together. Now I'm at the point where I just don't feel emotionally invested anymore. I'm tired of feeling second to someone else, especially with a baby on the way. I know I want to break up, but I'm torn between doing it before or after the baby arrives. I feel confident we can co-parent well, but I'm just unsure if I should wait until after the birth to avoid adding stress, or if it's better to just do it now. How do I break up with him when I'm 9 months pregnant?
Well, you don't. Honey, you're gonna need a babysitter. I'd say keep him around for at least a year. I mean, those nights can be rough, and as long as he's taking turns and doing his part, I would say, yeah, stick with it just for that. But honestly, I'm kind of thinking about you, like 7 years, and you hadn't even met this girl that he literally spends way too much time on, dotes on, and literally treats better than you. That's crazy. Like, I've been good friends with many guys, and usually when they get a significant other, they slowly drift away. But this guy is like drifting in. Well, personally, I think that they probably are hitting the sheets. Like, there's no way this guy gives her all these things and he's not getting anything in return. Like, give me a break. So, my advice, have the baby, let him spend the time with it. Get your time away from the situation with him watching the child. And then, yes, I think definitely break up. Should have already done that, but kind of got yourself in a pickle.
Heard. Well, I'm gonna do kind of a little bit of the opposite. I feel like she should cut her ties right now to just seriously let him know that she is not playing around. Like, look, son, I got your kid. I'm 9 months pregnant. I'm about to deliver in not too long, but I'd rather just go on ahead and cut the cord as soon as possible. If she already thinks that they're gonna co-parent well, I mean, shoot, maybe it's just best to part ways now and then get everything situated, because the longer you stay, the more you'll lean into it and try to, maybe make it work, go back on it all. Like, just going ahead and cut your losses now, move on, get you and your baby situated. And once again, he's still in it. Like, he has to be hemmed up for babysitting. And I shouldn't even say babysitting, like, that's your kid. So, like, watch your kid, son. All right. That's not babysitting. If it's someone else's child and you're getting money for it, well, that's babysitting. It's your own baby. That's you being a dad. So buck up or shut up and get the F out the picture. And you know what? While you're at it, why don't you slide me some rent money? Because I'm obviously going to have to go elsewhere without you. So I would personally say, go on ahead and leave him now, just so he knows he can't string you along anymore. But I would 100% agree, Nick. I would think that he's definitely doing something with this lady just because she's good at showing that she's cool. I don't know. And even if they're not doing anything, it's just blatant disrespect. Like, sorry, I ain't got time for it. And I don't care if I'm having a daughter or a son. I'm not going to have this joker show this type of behavior so my baby can eventually mimic it or think that that type of treatment's acceptable. Nah, you can do that on your own time, sir.
I don't know. It's confusing to me because usually when you get a girlfriend, like the girlfriend puts down stipulations, like you can't hang out with your friends all the time, or you definitely can't have friends that are girls. So, like, why did she not say anything like year 1 or 2 about this? I just don't understand. And Brittany, you don't have a child, so I understand your answer, and probably that's the correct one. But I honestly know someone who I know probably doesn't listen to the podcast, but she went to high school with us, and she said the same damn thing. She had 2 kids and she eventually, left her husband, but she waited till the kids were like 6 and 4 before she did it because of the fact it's so difficult to raise kids on your own. So, because we have kids, we have an idea that it's kind of helpful to have that close hand. But you're right, Brittany. She shouldn't stay with this guy. He's no good for her.
It's true. And no matter what we say, these are just opinions. We are not professionals. So take everything we say with a grain of salt. It's off of our own life experiences. It's off of our own thoughts and opinions. We are not professionally trained, and anything we say is just our thoughts and opinions. Do not take our word as bond.
Nope, not licensed professionals, just life livers.
Amen. You better say that stuff.
Well, that's it for this episode. We just want to thank everyone for tuning in. We really appreciate you all. And yeah, I feel that we've got a constant audience here and not losing any listeners. So I hope that everyone is enjoying the show. Feel free to reach out to us. Let us know what you want to hear about. And yeah, like and subscribe.
Thank you. See you next time.